What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new, I appreciate you checking in to see what we have going on here at the channel. Today we're in Madden 23, looking to get a franchise series coming to the channel. And for this franchise, it's going to run a little bit differently from my NCAA team builder dynasty that I currently have going. First things first, we're going to be starting this dynasty in week 10. And if you can't tell by the thumbnail or the video title, probably tells you that we are going to be the Raiders. Like I said, it's going to be different from my NCAA dynasty. We're not going to be playing the games. Mark Davis has given us control, hired me as GM. So we're going to be watching the games, building the teams. So the coaches and players' abilities is what is going to determine our outcome. And we're still going to be doing this franchise realistically, no trading for 10 first-round picks or signing all the best free agents. It's going to be thought out logically, trying to build this team as an actual GM would want to build their team. So settings-wise, we're staying at all pro since we're just simming. I think the only few things we're going to change is we're going to make the relocation settings disabled. Pre-existing injuries and all that stuff is going to stay on. I do want to cut the development of some of these players down just because I don't realistically know if there's 50 X factors in the league. So we'll just cut it down a little bit, 45. That means every team should have about one. The top tier teams might have more than one. Some might even have three, but I feel like that's a good fit. We'll up the star development just a little bit to make up for the X factors and superstars we took off. And then the quarter length, we're going to bump that up to 15 with the accelerated clock on. I feel like that gives us a good feel of what realistic games are like. And I believe the only thing, fill roster off, pop-ups off, and that will set us all up here. But the first order of business is going to be firing Josh McDaniels. After 2-6 start, which is definitely not how the fan base thought this season would start, but instead we are hiring former Raiders quarterback Rich Gannon. He brings in an eye for talent as he has been an NFL analyst and he's played with Hall of Famers, and he's been involved with the Raiders organization in the past and at points a mentor to Derek Carr, and he may just be what the Raiders need to get over that hump. And with this series, I'm looking to bring back these older Raider teams built on speed and power, the bigger, faster, stronger aspect of those teams that really dominated in the 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s, whenever Rich Gannon last played. And when you have a new coach, you normally have different offensive and defensive schemes. Now, McDaniel's offensive and defensive schemes are multiple power run, disguise 3-4. I feel like the Raiders right now are set up better to run a 4-3. We're going to stick with a 4-3 cover 3 just because I feel like that kind of fits what we are wanting to do. And our offensive scheme is going to change from a multiple power run to a vertical power run just because, like I said, bigger, faster, stronger. We want that power running game to excel. We want vertical threat at tight end. We want deep threat receivers. We want a strong arm quarterback so we can stretch the field and pound the rock as much as we want to. I have custom playbooks that I put together before I started this series, so I think that we're going to run with those. My 4-3 defense has a little bit of everything, some 3-3 nickels. It even has a little bit of 3-4, so we'll have to do some formation subs to kind of get all of that ironed out. And a couple of the reasons that I chose this team to start with, I feel like they're kind of right on the cusp of being able to compete for a Super Bowl. They just need a few extra pieces. Mostly help on the offensive line, the defensive side of the ball, but they have a lot of salary cap. They have young talent on the roster to build around. They have a lot of key players under contract for a while, and I feel like this is a team that underperformed so far this season and needs a few pieces to get there. Maybe less than 5 years, but we'll see how the series goes. And the cap space will give us room to make some changes. But I want this to be realistic. Like I said, we're not going to go out and splurge too much if we're too far away from a Super Bowl. And I think some of that will come into play with how we finish this season and the subsequent seasons. But looking over the salaries, like I said, the salary cap, $46.1 million in cap space. And when I was talking about some of these top players signed, you have Devontae Adams signed for 5 years. Mason Crosby signed for 5 years. This is Josh Jacobs' last season. I know in real life the Raiders didn't pick up his 5th-year option, but I believe that we're going to make re-signing him a priority. Darren Waller, 5 years. Colton Miller, 4 years. Kicker and punter is still signed for 4 years. Chandler Jones, he's getting up there in age. We may look to move him, but I mean, behind him we have and Derek Carr has 4 years. We have some players who are locked in decently long-term, 3 to 5 years, and I think that gives us a good base to build around with elite players. Now, one negative to the Raiders is they have a good amount of injuries. Brandon Parker's out for a year with a torn tricep. Micah Kaiser, Jordan Jenkins, Justin Herron, they're all out for the year with MCL and ACL tears. And then we have number 1 cornerback Nate Hobbs is out for 4 more weeks, and Divine Diablo, I might be saying that wrong. Let me know if I'm saying it wrong. But anyway, he's out for another 4 weeks also. So that is one downside, as this team has had a lot of injury problems, and specifically they've had problems at right tackle and a linebacker staying healthy. So we'll probably maybe look to sign a couple free agents at that position. But with that, we'll go over this roster and give you guys an overview of kind of what we're looking at, where we're at. It all starts quarterback position. Derek Carr, 31 years old, 79 overall. I feel like he isn't quite elite, but he's right under there. So we'll probably be making him one of our focus players. We have him for 4 more years. I feel like we can probably stick with him for those 4 years. If he starts to decline rapidly after, his 32, 33, then we'll probably look to move on. But in our next upcoming draft, I'm probably going to be looking at drafting a later round quarterback. At halfback, that's pretty secure. We have Josh Jacobs, 24 years old, 89 overall. Like I said, we're going to try and re-sign him to a pretty decent contract. And behind him, Amir Abdullah, Brandon Bolden, getting up there in age. Not sure if they'll be here next year. I'm not 100% sure on their contract situation. But either way, I like Amir Abdullah. I really like Zamir White. So Zamir White and Josh Jacobs should be a pretty good duo going on into the future. And Bretton Brown, actually right now we're going to cut him just so we can make some space for the free agents that we are going to sign. He's a penalty of $80K, but I feel like that's not very much to pay for opening up a roster spot. A fullback, Jacob Johnson, 67 overall, 27 years old. I do like using my fullbacks. If you are familiar with my Team Builder Dynasty, I like running with the fullbacks if we can, but then again, I'm not calling these plays, so we'll see how much Jacob Johnson is used here in these last 7 or 8 games, and then we'll make a decision of what to do at the fullback position. I believe we have a couple more years on his deal, but at wide receiver, Devontae Adams is a stud, 99 overall. We have him for another 5 years, so I don't really see us moving on from him. He shouldn't really decline since he has 90 speed, 99 overall. He'll still probably be a 90 or 85 at the end of his contract or something outrageous like that. But behind him, there's not really much depth. We have Hunter Renfrow, who's 26, and then Cole and Hollins, who are getting up there in age, and behind him, nothing else. So definitely depth at wide receiver, and possibly even a third wide receiver. Probably a day 1 or day 2 pick in the draft, or if we can find someone serviceable in free agency. But definitely wide receiver depth is going to be a need for us. At tight end, I feel like we're pretty locked up for the future, or the immediate future. Darren Waller, 29 years old. We have him on another 5-year deal. Foster Moreau right behind him at 25 and 73 overall. So I don't really see us needing too much at that position. And while we're here, we're just going to release Trent Sieg, since Madden doesn't really recognize the long snapper position. So that'll free up over $1 million cap and give us a free roster spot. Along the offensive line, there's not much outside of Colton Miller. You can see high 60s, low 70s. Colton Miller is going to be our starting left tackle for as long as we can keep him. His ratings say he's the 10th ranked left tackle in the league. So, I mean, a top 10 tackle is pretty ideal for a rebuilding team. You want to be able to protect your quarterback, your veteran quarterback, your fresh rookie quarterback. So Colton Miller at 26, I mean, if we can keep him for, another 5 or 6 years, that would be ideal. But behind him, nothing. Jackson Barton, he'll probably end up getting cut at some point. But our left guard, Dylan Parham, he's a rookie. At 69 overall, he could develop into a serviceable starter, but I feel like with normal development, he's not really going to get there anytime soon. So he might be a project for us. Center Andre James, 73 overall, 25 years old. Serviceable, not great. Right guard John Simpson, 25 years old, 68 overall, and Alex Barrs right behind him. Yeah, we're lacking offensive line talent along the whole offensive line, except for left tackle, but we could use a backup there. And right tackle, we have these two injuries. Brandon Parker, he's out for the season. Justin Herron, he's out for the season. So Jermaine Luminor and Thayer Munford are two players at those positions. So I don't know, maybe when we look in free agency, we'll find a veteran that can come in. Luminor, not really sure if there's any right tackles in free agency that are better than him, but right guard, center, we'll take a look, see what we can find. If not, but on the defensive side of the ball is where everything kind of changes. Since the Raiders were set up as a 3-4, Max Crosby was actually listed as a left outside linebacker. So instead, moving him down to left end. Cleveland Farrell, since he's a scheme fit at left end, he's going to be there, but he's going to be a backup to both positions. And Malcolm Kuntz, who's a scheme fit at left end, he's also moving there. And we want a speed rusher at this 4-hour scheme. At right end, Chandler Jones, he moves down from right outside backer. And Tayshawn Bauer does the same thing. So Bilal Nichols, Andrew Billings, those are going to be our two starters. But everybody's fairly young, but I feel like we definitely need some defensive line help either in free agency or this next upcoming draft. Our linebacker situation isn't much better. All of our middle linebackers, basically, I tried to spread them out as well as I could. Our left outside linebacker archetype is a pass coverage, so I moved Jayon Brown, who is very good in pass coverage. He's definitely our best pass coverage linebacker with 71 man and 67 zone. Press, not very good, but Jayon Brown is definitely going to be our top sub linebacker. And I have a surprise for our second sub linebacker. Some of you Raider fans might like it, some of you might not, but behind him we have Darren Butler. He's a rookie, 63 overall, decent depth. Moved him here just because he's a 60 overall for pretty much every archetype that you can have at outside backer. Denzel Perryman, start in the middle, 29 years old. He's in his contract year, so I'm not sure if we'll re-sign him. If you guys think we should, let me know. Maybe we get him on a 1-year deal, but I do like Divine Diablo's. Let me know if I'm saying that name wrong. I'm not too familiar with some of these players, but Diablo has really good stats that are like 88 speed at middle linebacker is phenomenal. Like I said, bigger, faster, stronger. That's what I want to see out of this defense. I want to see players swarming to the ball. He has 84 pursuit, which will also help with that. So I would not be against seeing what Diablo has at middle linebacker, maybe as we get later into the season. If we're out of playoff contention, getting him some starts, see how he does. And behind him, Luke Masterson, rookie, just pretty much there for depth. Right outside backer, we moved Blake Martinez out. He's a run stopper archetype, but we don't really have any pass rusher archetype linebackers on our roster who are also good at pass coverage. So moving Blake Martinez here seems like a good move in my eyes. He has decent man coverage and zone coverage. I would prefer to have Micah Kaiser starting, but he's injured. So is Jordan Jenkins. Pretty sure both of these guys will miss a lot of time. Yep, Micah Kaiser is out with an MCL tear, and I'm pretty sure Jordan Jenkins is also out with an ACL tear. At corner, Nate Hobbs, he's going to be a guy that we are definitely looking forward to being a cornerback of the future. 79 overall, 23 years old. He has star development, so he'll develop pretty quick. We'll get him back after 4 weeks. And Rockyason, Anthony Everett, fairly young, 26 and 27 years old respectively, and Sidney Jones at 26. So we have a good base to build from. I may go ahead and cut Sam Webb just so we can have that little bit more space. Our backup free safety, he's a little bit older, but he's a little bit better in coverage from what I've seen in this roster. Matthias Farley, that's who it is. He'll be our 5th cornerback if we need him. But Trevon Morig, he's going to be our starting free safety. 23 years old. He's another player that we start building around. He's got star development, 90 speed, good zone coverage. That's what I like to see out of a starting free safety. And Deron Harmon, He has better coverages than Jonathan Abram, who is our starting strong safety. But I'm going to start Deron Harmon as strong safety. And Jonathan Abram is actually going to be our sub-package second linebacker behind Jayon Brown. He hits hard. He's fast. He has a lot better coverages than our other linebackers, so I feel like this is a really good fit for him. He's a little bit undersized, but he pretty much plays better close to the line of scrimmage, so I feel like the sub-linebacker package is perfect for him. Roger Teamer is going to back all of them up, and our special teams is pretty much set up for a while. We said Daniel Carlson, he's a superstar kicker. AJ Cole, he's a superstar punter, and both of them are signed to 4-year deals, so I have no worries about our special teams. Kind of reminds me of the Seabass and Shane Leckler days that our coach Rich Gannon played during. But we definitely have some weaknesses at offensive line, some at wide receivers, some in linebackers just because of injuries. So I'm gonna look at some of these free agents and see what we can find. I know you guys see Odell Beckham. We aren't going to be signing Odell Beckham, one, because he's injured, but some of these top guys we aren't going to sign. I would love to sign guys like Ndamukong Suh to be one of our starting D tackles, but 35 years old, I feel like $5 million is too much to ask for just a one season. But things like that's the things that I'm looking into for this. Some of these free agents are just going to be guys that we can start to build around. Young guys that are some depth. See how everything goes. Our first move we're going to make is Grasu. We're going to move him up to the main roster. He was on our practice squad, but he just adds a little bit more depth to our interior offensive line. And one thing that I'm really interested in with this Madden is the motivations and tags, because that hasn't been in recent Maddens. The last Madden that I really played was Madden 20. I kind of took a break just because the franchise is pretty much all that I like to play. So, since they hadn't really touched it too much, gone too much in depth, this is the first year that I kind of picked it back up. So having this in the game makes me extremely happy. And another guy we're going to add from our practice squad, Curtis Bolton, 6', 228. He's in his third year out of Oklahoma. He has really good speed, okay block shedding, but I'm really just keying in. He has 62 zone coverage, 66 finesse move. He has some stats that you can work with, so we're going to sign him to the active roster. And I want to sign Francis Bernard. He's 6 foot, 230 pounds, right outside linebacker, 64 overall. He's archetyped as a run stopper, but I feel like he has decent enough block shedding and power moves that he could be effective if he has to come in and step in. He has okay speed at 81 and 81 acceleration, but he has pretty good zone coverage, 63 zone. So I feel like we're going to sign him to let him fill one of the gaps. And I'm signing Marlon Davidson. I found him star development, 68 overall in his third year out of Auburn. So we're going to actually sign him to the active roster. And of course, I signed too many players, so I have to cut one. I'm thinking I'm looking at cutting one of our defensive tackles just because we signed that defensive end who's probably going to slide in at defensive tackle. And Kendall Vickers, he is going to be the odd man out. And by moving Marlon Davidson, he slides in to be our number 3 defensive tackle. Future star development. I'm not sure where he'll go, but he's 24 years old. He has plenty of time to develop into a future starter, which is his player tag. So we'll see how that goes. Our linebackers that we signed Curtis Bolton off the practice squad, middle linebacker number 36, 63 overall at 26 years old. He'll be our second string since Diablo is hurt. And the right outside linebacker that is backing up Martinez, Francis Bernard, he is number 53 at a 65 overall. And so going into week 10 against the Colts and for the foreseeable rest of the season, this is what our lineup is looking like. We need a lot of help along the offensive line, but Grasu lines up as the backup center. We didn't really make any additions onto the offensive side of the ball. On the defensive side of the ball, we added in some defensive tackles. Davidson, whenever I get to specialists, he's actually going to be our rush defensive tackle. Crosby and Jones slipped down, where Bolton is the backup at middle, and left outside backer and right outside backer is going to be Bernard. Harmon starting strong safety. Abram backing up behind him. Abram backing up behind him. On the special team side of the ball, our long snapper is going to be Dylan Parham. I don't know if putting him there will give him any extra development, but we're banking on just maybe that happens. Kick return is going to be Abdullah and Keelan Cole. Punt return is going to be Renfro, just because that's kind of their positions in real life. Abdullah's the kick returner. Renfro's the punt returner, or at least it was whenever I looked at the Raiders depth chart on their website. Specialists, slot corner is going to be Anthony Everett, just because he has better press. I wasn't going to put Sidney Jones there. I feel like Sidney Jones does better as an outside corner, at least he did with the Eagles. Crosby and Jones are our rush defensive ends. Davidson's going to be our rush D tackle with Bilal Nichols right behind him. Sub linebackers are Jayon Brown and Jonathan Abram. And then Josh Jacobs is just pretty much going to be our every down back. If he does need a breather, Amir Abdullah is going to come in on third down. And if he needs a breather in the power formations, Bolden's coming in. Renfro's our slot receiver with Keelan Cole right behind him. And practice squad as it sits, I don't know how much you guys really care about this. We have 2 open positions. I'm not really too worried about filling those right now. If we get some injuries, Roby Coleman might actually get signed somewhere else after this week. He is star development, apparently, 73 overall. I did not notice that. But either way, we're just going to leave it as is right now. And that'll take us into our trainings and focus players getting ready for this upcoming game against the Colts, who was actually the inspiration of having Rich Gannon as our head coach, seeing as how they, signed Jeff Saturday to be their interim coach. At the time, I thought that was pretty good. You have a guy who was a player at a very high level. He's seen Hall of Famer in Peyton Manning for 10 plus years. And who else would you want to listen to as a player? The guy who's been there, done that, played in the NFL, played for a long time at an elite level. So I feel like the idea of having Rich Gannon as our coach was, a step in the right direction. So we'll see how it all plays out. But getting ready for this game, I'm pretty much just going to let the game plan do itself for us. So we're going against Matt Ryan, defend the deep pass. That's perfectly fine with me. Defend the run inside against Jonathan Taylor. That's perfectly fine with me. And where everything's going to change a little bit is in our focus players. So as I have them set up now, we're going to have Derek Carr, Trevon Moehrig, Jayon Brown as our focus players. Derek Carr, just because, like I said, we have him for 4 or 5 years. I want to make sure that he's getting as much development in those years as we can. Trevon Moehrig, he's young, star development. He's going to excel. He's starting. He's going to get all the points we need him to get to be a free safety that we can build around. And Jayon Brown, he's a little bit older, 27, but he has star development, and he's one of the best pass coverage linebackers in the league. So I feel like with our archetype being pass coverage at left outside linebacker, I want to have him on the team for multiple years. So we'll make him a focus player to see how he develops and how the rest of this team develops around these top players that we've put into place. And the Rich Gannon era of the Las Vegas Raiders is about to begin as we are taking on the Colts, led by Derek Carr and Devontae Adams. The Colts led by Matt Ryan, Jonathan Taylor, as we are set to get this game underway. And for this series, I'm pretty sure most of the time we are going to be watching the games just like this. We'll sim the first couple series maybe of each team, see how it goes. If it's a close game, we'll watch more. If it's kind of a blowout either way, we'll watch a little bit less. If it's a blowout, we'll get some of those backups into the game, see how they perform. But starting out now, 2nd and 1 after that first down pass. Matt Ryan's in the shotgun. And Taylor gets the handoff. Tackled by Max Crosby. And since we're using a custom playbook, I'm not really able to fix some of the formation subs, but So Max Crosby and Chandler Jones, like in the 3-4, they're still going to be down linemen, which is kind of unfortunate. But I don't know. Maybe we could fix that sometime later in the series somehow. But I'm not sure how we would. 2nd and 7 now. First quarter, 13:30 left. Taylor gets the handoff out wide. A huge stiff arm. He's taken down by Blake Martinez and Morig there on the outside edge. Bring up a 3rd and 6. Looks like we're in our 3-3-5 formation. Max Crosby almost got to the quarterback and taken down short of the sticks, and they're going to be forced to punt right at about midfield. And this is going to be, wow, down to inside the 5 at the 4-yard line. So our offense is going to have a tough test starting out. We'll see if Rich Gannon can get his offense going. And there comes Derek Carr out on the field. So far on the season, only 11 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. So hopefully in this last 7 games, we can, try and make a run to the playoffs. And if not, then we'll be, looking at a high draft pick, which is not the end of the world. First down play is handed off to Jacobs. And he's ahead of the sticks for a first down, 13-yard gain on his first run of the day. And the single back. Play action from Carr. Throws it over the middle to Jacobs. And he's pushed ahead for a first down. Putting together a nice little drive. I like to see that out of this offensive first series of the game. And that's a fumble. By who was that? The fumble was that Waller? I can't believe that. The Colts are going to take over at the 31-yard line of the Raiders, but we have a booth review, thankfully. Please let him be down. I don't want to fumble on the 4th play of the drive. That's kind of close. And it's overturned. Awesome. 2nd and inches. We come out in our power formation. Jacobs gets the handoff, and he picks up just enough for a first down. See last week, 17 rushes, 67 yards. Not too shabby. 759 on the season and 6 touchdowns. So a new set of downs here at their own 41 of the Raiders. Play action from Carr. Throws it out to Jacobs. Breaks a couple tackles and jukes out of bounds after a first down pickup. And they're across the 50 now. Across midfield. 1st and 10. 10 minutes left. Jacobs bounces it out, but he has nowhere to go. So now it makes it a 2nd and 11. Play action from Carr. A lot of pressure sent by the Colts. And that is knocked away. Devontae Adams' intended target. So it brings up a 3rd and 11. And they are definitely out of field goal range, so we need to pick up this 3rd down. Forson on the rush, thrown out short to Waller. And he has a gain of 7, it looks like. 4th and 4, and I think that's going to make us punt. Oh, we're actually going for the field goal. Carlson has a leg, so we'll see if he can pick it up. A 59-yard kick. And it's good. I can't believe it. A hell of a kick from Daniel Carlson. And the Raiders are on the board. 3-0 here after their first drive of the season. It's not a big start to the season, but hey, we'll take it. Kickoff return taken out to the 26, and that's where the Colts are going to start this drive. Taylor in single back. Forson on the rush. And Crosby gets there, and he forces a fumble, a strip sack. Lyman picks it up and doesn't advance it anymore. Loss of 4 on the play. Good job by Crosby getting back there. I may have called him Murphy. That is definitely not his name. A little bit of pressure sent this time, and Taylor is tackled immediately. Not sure who that is, 29. Somebody may have to remind me. I believe that's Rocky Sin. I could be very wrong. If it's not him, then it's Anthony Everett. But 3rd and 7 is complete to Mo Alley Cox, and he is out to just short of the 50. New set of downs for the Colts as they are driving on this Raiders defense. Come out in the 4-3 are the Raiders. Wow, Jonathan Taylor just destroying whoever that was that tried to make the tackle on him. He picks up 9, 2nd and 1. And a lot of formation changes. A lot of audibling going on. Gets it out quick, Ryan, and that's incomplete. 3rd and 1 now. So the Raiders try and stop this Colts offense. See what they pull out. They hand it off to Taylor, and he picks up the 1st down out to the 40-yard line now. And the shotgun is Matt Ryan. Taylor to the right of him. Now Ryan throws it to Taylor on the screen. Tries to get away from the tackles, but he can't. As that is Chandler Jones on the tackle. Backup running back in the game now. Taylor came out. Matt Ryan's back, pressured. Throws it out of bounds. 3rd and 5 now. At about the 37 of the Raiders. And that is thrown over the middle to complete to Pierce, it looks like. And they're at the 25 now. This drive just keeps going on. Just under 5 minutes left here in the first. Thrown out short over the middle again, and that's Alley Cox once again. Out inside the 15 to the 13-yard line. 2nd and 10. Good stop by the Raiders that time. Although they didn't really have to do much. That was Matt Ryan's fault as this is thrown over the middle, and it's a 1st down. Pierce once again, and they are at the 2. You got to think they're just going to hand it off to their best player, Jonathan Taylor, and they do. And he powers into the end zone. Touchdown, Colts. Very long drive. Took up a lot of time. And they are going to take the lead with this extra point, 7-3. And we'll see what this Raiders offense can pull out, as there was a touchback on the kickoff. So they start here at the 25. Carr's back, gets it out quick to Jacobs, who's taken down immediately. 2nd and 6. Jacob gets a handoff, and he's taken down immediately again. 3rd and 5 for the Raiders, and this is a conversion they need to pick up if they want to answer to the Colts. At their own 30, Carr's back, has time. Thrown to Adams, and he has a 1st down, a pickup of about 12. Well, not 12, but he picks up the 1st down either way, and they'll continue their drive. Here at the 38 are the Raiders. Derek Carr hands off to Jacobs. He has some space along the outside, breaks a tackle, and he's out to the 43. 2nd and 5 now after the pickup by Jacobs. And we're really looking to see how Jacobs performs, because if he has a pretty good game, as that is caught down the sideline, Darren Waller with an amazing catch to get down to the 24, keep his feet in bounds. But if Jacobs has a good game today, I'm very much looking forward to signing him. From looking at some of our players who wanted to be re-signed, he definitely had a lot of interest because of the fact that he's number 1 on the depth chart, as he takes that one. 6 carries for 34 yards so far on the day. So as long as he keeps this up, gets us in a position to win this game, we're going to try and re-sign him afterwards. Here at the 10, jet sweep fake, and Jacobs is gobbled up in the backfield. Can't get away. 2nd and 12 now at the 13. They can actually pick up a 1st down without getting in the end zone somehow, as Jacobs takes this off tackle to the left, and he is swallowed up by 2 Colts, as that is the end of the quarter. So switching sides of the field, 3rd and 12 is where we continue. Derek Carr in the gun, drops back, gets out to Jacobs, breaks a tackle, but it forces him out of bounds. That's 4th and 4. See if the Raiders go for it or if they choose to kick. And they're going to kick the field goal. For some reason, the clock is still running. Maybe they're giving him forward progress before he went out of bounds, but that field goal is good. Both scores by Daniel Carlson for today. The score is 7-6. As we're going to get one more look at this Colts offense and probably one more drive of the Raiders offense, and then we'll sim a little bit more, probably sim to halftime, check out some of the stats, see how everything's doing. Then once we get past halftime, we'll kind of see how everything flows together. But the Colts come out now at their own 25, starting out this drive. As that's pitched out to Taylor, and he just makes 90. I'm not sure who that is. Look like an idiot. But he's only able to pick up one. Good pursuit by the defense. So 2nd and 9 now. Matt Ryan hands it off to Taylor once again, and he is swallowed up. That's Jayon Brown on the tackle. We also want to re-sign him. Drops back. Throws it out to Mo Alley Cox. He can't break the tackle on the 3rd and 9. That's a 4th and 1, and the Colts are going to give this one away. It looks like we have Amir Abdullah in the backfield. Nope, that's Jacobs. I was surprised he's not like an impact player, but throwing out, gain of 4, 2nd and 6. Carr hands off to Jacobs. Can't break the tackle. Tackled for no gain. Leonard on the tackle. Under 12 minutes left now. Carr's back to pass. He's pressured and he is going down. Sacked by Stewart. Just interior offensive line can't stop him, and that brings up a 4th and 15, and we're going to be forced to punt. So out of our first couple drives, I didn't see anything too outstanding. We definitely have to perform better. Definitely need better performance out of Derek Carr, but we'll sim here to the halftime and see how our stats are looking. As there's a big completion on the 3rd and 3. Colts are driving, and a touchdown thrown to Michael Pittman. It's not what we wanted, but 1st and 10, incomplete pass. 2nd and 10, incomplete pass. 3rd and 10, another incomplete pass. Derek Carr is not playing like a franchise quarterback should be playing, as we are down by 8 now. Matt Ryan gets 6 yards on the carry and another 1st down conversion. Jonathan Abram with a pass deflection. Rock Ya-Sin with a pass deflection, and they have to punt. Josh Jacobs with 2 good runs. We need to rely on him a little bit more as we hit the 2-minute warning. Renfro with his first catch of the day. Devontae Adams with 13-yard catch. Mac Hollins for 22. Can we score before the half? And we do. 11-yard touchdown to Mac Hollins. Definitely something we needed right before half. Only down by 1. As the quarterbacks are fairly similar. Derek Carr 15 for 18. 154 yards and a touchdown. Josh Jacobs isn't getting much going, but he's having a much better day than Jonathan Taylor. I do want to be able to stop the run because there's a lot of good running backs in the AFC. Jonathan Taylor, one of them. Derrick Henry, of course. So the fact that we're holding Jonathan Taylor 13 carries, 38 yards, 2.9 a carry, I'm happy with that. Samir White actually got a 1-yard rush, which, okay. Josh Jacobs is leading our team in catches with 5. Darren Waller in yards, 56. And Mac Hollins caught our only touchdown. The sack was allowed by Dylan Parham. Defensive-wise, Rock Ya-Sin, yep, 26, the guy with the dreads. I'm not sure if he has dreads in real life, so if any of you guys want me to change that, I can. He actually has 2 tackles for loss on the day also, with Perriman, Chandler Jones, Jayon Brown joining him. And only sack on the day by Max Crosby. So far a good game. And we're going to sim a little bit more before we jump back in. 1st and 10. Reception to Foster Moreau. Looks like our team is doing a bit better whenever we sim, but Doesn't mean we still aren't going to watch them play. 3rd and 4. Big completion to Devontae Adams. 2-yard loss by Jacobs. Another loss by Jacobs. 3rd and 16. We can't pick it up. But the field goal is good by Daniel Carlson to take the lead. 14-16. So we see what the Colts can do on offense. Maybe we'll, if they score right here, or even if they don't, maybe we'll jump in and we'll watch this whole 4th quarter as they are down inside the 10. 3rd and goal, and touchdown to Mo Alley Cox. So both defenses kind of had a problem stopping the passing game going on. Incomplete pass by Carr on 1st down. Don't have another incompletion, but he's sacked. That is also not good, so they'll punt this ball away. 2:50 left in the 3rd. Mo Alley Cox gets a reception. Jonathan Taylor, incomplete pass. 3rd and 12, hold him, and we will get a punt. So since that was pretty much the last play of the 3rd quarter, I am going to just go ahead and jump in here, and we'll watch some of the rest of this game. As we have a 2nd and 10 here at our own 35. It's going to be probably the last play of the 3rd quarter. This is given to Jacobs. He can't break the tackle. Only 67 yards on the day. We go into the 4th quarter with a 3rd and 7. Only 68 rushing yards on the day. We need to be a little bit better than that. Derek Carr throws this out, and Hollins can't hold on to it. 4th and 7. We're just going to punt this ball away, as we will watch this first drive for the Colts in the 4th quarter. Hopefully the defense can come out and ball out. Thrown short, and that is way off the mark. Pierced the intended target. 2nd and 10 now. Ryan alone in the backfield. I would like us to blitz a little bit more. We're kind of only sending 4 most of the time. But that's kind of one of the reasons why I changed it to a 4-3, because our 2 best pass rushers, Crosby and Jones, I want them to be rushing the passer pretty much every time. As this time, Crosby gets back there for his 2nd sack of the day. And that's one reason why I picked this team. He has been a savage on that side of the ball, getting pressure on the quarterback. Much better than Chandler Jones. He only has a half a sack on the season, and Crosby just quadruples his sack total in one game. So Max Crosby is definitely going to be a keystone that we can build on at the defensive end position, and I feel like he can make this defense something to be feared, like the old Raiders defenses. As we jump in here, look and see what the Raiders can do if they can score. 13:40 left in the last quarter. 21-16. They're down 5. Play action from Carr. Those are short to Jacobs, who catches it on the run. As we get a penalty. And it's offensive holding, so that's going to take us back. What are you doing holding, Renfro? You're a wide receiver. Run a route. It's 1st and 16, or 1st and 13 now. Another play action from Carr. Throwing it deep, and that is incomplete. Looks like Adams was the intended target. So we have a 2nd and 13. Adams, the lone wide receiver at the bottom of the screen. Throwing short to the middle to Waller. He's just shy of the 1st down marker. 3rd and 1. Carr in the gun. Jacobs to the left of him. Renfro comes in motion. Throws short over the middle to Renfro, and it just bounces right off his hands. So 4th and 1, I would love for them to go for it in this situation, but honestly, that's probably not a smart idea. Oh, they actually are going to go for it. Wow. I figured maybe at the 50-yard line, they would just try and give it away, as this is given to Josh Jacobs, and he has a 1st down. Goes right past the 50. Picks up a couple. Very good 4th down conversion. I love to see that out of this offense. And Jacobs takes the handoff again. 20 carries so far on the day. Only 72 yards to show for it, though. 2nd and 8. Play action from Carr. Gives it to Waller, and he picks up a first down, about a gain of 10, down to about the 37-yard line. The Raiders are driving, so I'm thinking that they'll at least come away with some points on this drive, as this is thrown out deep and overthrows his target, Foster Moreau, the intended receiver. But that brings up a 2nd and 10. 11-11 left in the quarter. Short to Foster Moreau, and he has a first down. Taken down at the 25. Derek Carr hands it off to Jacobs. Definitely ball security. Actually, that's not Jacobs. That's Zamir White. So he picks up about 9 yards, his second carry of the day. 2nd and 1 now. Carr throws it quick to Hollins, and Hollins is in for his 2nd touchdown of the game. Mac Hollins has come up clutch today, and he might be playing himself into a 2nd contract. That is 2 touchdowns for Mac Hollins today. And the Raiders have taken the lead here, 22-21, and they're going to go for 2. Interesting. Make it a 2-point game? No, a 3-point game. That is definitely my fault. I cannot read or do math, and that is complete to Darren Waller, as the Raiders take a 3-point lead with 10 minutes left here in the 4th quarter. Frank Reich does not like that. And Indianapolis starts here at their 25. We need a big stop from our defense, as that's thrown out quick. Tackled short of the sticks by Rakyasin. They're to 34 now, 2nd and 1. 3 down linemen. We send some pressure, but Taylor gets the handoff, and he's out to about the 40-yard line. Morrig, the safety, comes down into the box. Tackled by Jones. Not letting Taylor go anywhere, and it's 2nd and 7. His Raiders defense being a little bit more aggressive now, it looks like, trying to stop that run. As this is pitched out to Jacobs, and he has a huge hole. And he is taken down at the 49, but not until he picks up a first down. Just great blocking by the Colts offensive line, really. Matt Ryan's back to pass. Those are short to Cox. Well, Alley Cox. And 2nd and 1 now. At the Raider 40-yard line. Handoff given to the running back. Not Jonathan Taylor. That's Zach Moss. Picks up 6. At the 35 now, Matt Ryan. Those are short to Pierce. He picks up about 7-yard line. Well, picks up about 7 yards. Handoff now to Taylor, and he has a huge hole up the middle. Breaks a tackle. And he picks up 11. 76 yards on the day so far for Taylor. As long as we don't allow 100 from him, I'm happy with that. But Rich Gannon's still trying to get his first win of the season in his first game. That would be amazing. That would give us a big vote of confidence. That's thrown short. Breaks a tackle, but tackled immediately again. 41. I'm not sure who that is. But the Raiders looks like they're making an adjustment to strip the ball. Matt Ryan's back to pass, pressured. And that is broken up. Rakyasin able to knock it out of Pierce's hands. And a 2nd and goal at the 4. Matt Ryan under center. Hands it off to Taylor, and he is tackled in the backfield. Number 90, I think that is Marlon Davidson, who we just signed. Coming up big on 2nd down. Makes it a 3rd and goal. 4-yard line. Back to pass. Ryan. He has time. Throws it over the middle. Now this is wide open. Pittman in for the touchdown. Colts take the lead. 27-24 as they just kick the extra point. And Derek Carr is giving his team a pep talk. And now the Raiders need to tap into that 4-minute offense, go down, score a touchdown. Field goals don't matter. As this kickoff taken out of the end zone, down out to the 24-yard line, and that's where they're going to start their drive. And you got to think if they don't score on this drive, it might very well be over. Both teams have all 3 of their timeouts. Jacobs gets the handoff, spins, breaks a tackle, but good pursuit by that Colts defense, not letting him go anywhere. 2nd and 11 now. At the 23-yard line after the loss of 1. Back to pass, Carr. And that is intercepted. Looks like Renfro was the intended target, and Stephon Gilmore comes away from with the interception. Jesus, we did not need that. And that, man, you just hate to see that. 4:20 left in the game, blaze it. Now the Raiders need a turnover as we get a lot of pressure sent, and he is sacked by Curtis Bolton. I think his first sack on the season, the guy we just called up from the practice squad. Rich Gannon's very happy about that. Just sent too many. They couldn't block everyone. And a big play by this Raiders defense. That is what I want more of. I want a lot more blitzing from this Raiders defense if we can get it. 5 sent this time, and Allie Cox is open for the completion. The Colts have 421 yards today. That is very impressive. We have a 3rd and 8. Matt Ryan's back to pass. Those are short. Pierce powers through to get the first down. Matt Ryan's officially over 300 yards. Down to the 21. Indianapolis driving. Not sure how this is all going to play out, if we'll have a chance, if we can get a turnover. But Ryan's back to pass. Those are short again to Michael Pittman. 2nd and 5 at 15. They might get a playoff before the 2-minute warning. And they won't. So 15, 2nd and 5 after the 2-minute warning. Ball given to Taylor, and he is tackled. Timeout taken by the Raiders. And a minute 57 left now, 3rd and 6. We're definitely going to want to, at the least, force a field goal, and that is a first down for the Colts and another timeout taken by the Raiders. This is not looking good for Rich Gannon's first start. The Raiders at 2 and 6. It looks like the Colts may walk out of Las Vegas with a win, as Jonathan Taylor is down to the 1-yard line, and they have plenty of time. They could literally just kneel this game away, but I think they're going to try and score. Clock winds down to 2, and a touchdown, Michael Pittman. This pass defense has just been horrible, allowing 300-plus yards to Matt Ryan. That is very unacceptable. As the extra point is up, 35-24, a minute left. I don't really think there's very much more this Raiders offense can do, but jump in here on offense, see if they can at least put together a drive here in the last minute. They start out at the 25. Carr in the backfield. They're definitely going to be throwing. No pressure sent. Giving out short to Jacobs. Checks it down. We need big plays, not short dinks. And that is deep to Adams. Why couldn't they do that the whole game? 11-second runoff. They're out of timeouts. Clock's winding down. You got to get rid of the ball, and that is incomplete. Pressure sent by the defense. And 15 seconds left. They're at the 42-yard line, 2nd and 10. Right now, they're just playing for pride. As Derek Carr heaves this to the end zone. A lot of bodies down there, and it's just batted away. Out of bounds, 3rd and 10. Possibly the last play of the game with 8 seconds left. I believe they're just going to chuck this one deep, as that is incomplete. They'll get one more chance to save some face, but 4 seconds left. Nothing is really going to happen. You know it. I know it. The defense knows it. Derek Carr knows it. Just making a chuck to the end zone, and it's incomplete. And in Rich Gannon's debut, he's unable to come away with the win. They had 275 passing yards, 81 rushing yards, but Colts passing offense was just too much for the Raiders today. And player stats wise, Derek Carr, 24 for 41. There at the end of the game, we were just kind of throwing everything up. I feel like that's where some of his completions came, but he also had a lot of drops in the passing game from a lot of his receivers. Jacobs, 21 carries, 71 yards. Zamir White, 2 for 10. I'm not sure if we want to adjust some of the auto subs. I would like to get Zamir White and Amir Abdullah maybe some more carries. Josh Jacobs, 21 carries. I kind of like that split, but I feel like we should be running a little bit more. And we ran 64 offensive plays, but receiving wise, this is what I want to check out, the drops. So Foster Moreau had a drop, Renfro had a drop. That was it. Seemed like when we were watching there were a lot more than that. But either way, Pittman, Mo Cox, and Pierce, they all kind of killed us. Darren Waller and Josh Jacobs both had 6 receptions. And Darren Waller was our leading receiver, 78 yards, 2 touchdowns from Hollins, so he might have played himself into another contract just this one game, but we'll see how the rest of the season plays out with how all that goes. We didn't have any pancakes on offense, and Illuminor, our right tackle, and Parham, our rookie left guard, both allowed a sack. Defensively, 15 total tackles from a corner. You don't want to tackle you don't want a corner getting 15 of your tackles, but Jayon Brown was right behind him with 14. 3 tackles for loss by that corner, Rocky Sen. So I feel like he's definitely going to be a part of our defense going forward. Max Crosby with 2 sacks, and Curtis Bolton with the only other sack on the team, which is interesting seeing as how he's our like 3rd middle linebacker. But when he was on the field, he made plays, 3 tackles. The only interception from Stephon Gilmore, that was just a heartbreaking interception that Derek Carr threw. But I mean, at that point, we were trying to come back. We couldn't really make the comeback. Yeah, that was a tough loss. And I thought we really had a good chance of winning that first game against a 3-5-1 Indianapolis team. But that loss drops us to 2-7. Standings on the season, I'm pretty sure that the Texans have not played their most recent game since we're still in the same week, but we are now 29th ranked team record-wise, losing 3 in a row. So hopefully next week we play against the Broncos. Maybe we can come away with a win at Mile High. But before we end this episode, I do want to look at some of our scouting that we have going on. Choosing the draft class, we're just going to keep our auto-generated rookies. I think by seeing that game play out, we have a lot of need on the defensive side of the ball and along the offensive line. And as we can see, you know, there's at least 1 offensive lineman in the top 10, 3 defensive players in the top 10. So I think we'll be able to make a difference at least one of those positions in the draft. Our scouts, I didn't get to set these up, so this is what the Raiders had them set up as. And it looks like they're definitely targeting defensive line and offensive line, which I think is very much our top needs. Secondary position, this running back for these 2 guys, I absolutely do not see running back as a need for us, but definitely offensive line, definitely defensive line, linebackers, wide receivers, corners, pretty much everything except where we have those few guys that are set up for 5 years. And looking at some of these prospects, we'll just get you a little bit of an overview. At quarterback, that's not really a need for us, but there's 2 top 5 picks, a couple round 1 projected talents. At halfback, which isn't really a need for us, but we could be taking, you know, a late round flyer just to have as depth. There's a few day 3 options that I'm looking for. Power back is our archetype, but I mean, preferably I would like a elusive back, but we don't really have a pure power back on the roster. So we have a couple to choose from, even some projected undrafted free agents. Fullbacks, probably will not be drafting one. Maybe there's one available in undrafted free agency or whatever. At wide receiver, I don't really see us taking one, you know, in the first round, but there's a decent amount of top level talent at receiver. You know, there's 10 receivers projected. second or third round. So our deep threat is our archetype. I'm kind of just going to wait until we get these guys combine scores to see, how exactly their speed is, because that's kind of what I'm looking for mostly. I want the fastest receivers we can get that have good hands, route running, all that good stuff. But I feel like speed is definitely going to be one of our top priorities at our skill positions. Tight ends, not much of a deep class, but we're not hurting at tight end. But along the offensive line, that's kind of where it picks up. That is what we're looking for. Left tackle, we're not really looking for a left tackle, but as always, we could have somebody transfer over to the right, like George Brown could transfer to be a right tackle, Jack Jackson, Cody Mason. But I feel like in the first couple rounds, if we don't find anyone in free agency, that's going to be our move. At left guard, Brandon Cummings is really the only guy who is a round 1 talent. Everyone else kind of round 1, 2, 3, 4. But after him, there's not much high-level talent at the left guard position. Center, don't even think about drafting unless you're drafting late. At right guard, there's a couple guys. Tremaine Waller, 6'5", 339 pounds. He has good skills, solid to good strength. I'd much rather have a one of the stronger right guards that we can get. Nick Wayne might be another pick. Lacks discipline, resulting in avoidable penalties. I don't like that. I don't really want to be a penalized team, and if that guy's just going to get us penalties that aren't deserved, we might have to look elsewhere for him. The right tackle, Tyson Arnold, he was a 10th ranked player. If we can try and get him, he also lacks discipline, man. But I feel like one of these linemen we're going to have to make a choice for. If we don't go offensive lineman in our first pick, I feel like our next pick is going to be along the defensive line. We're going to be looking mainly for defensive tackle, maybe edge rusher, depending on if we get rid of Chandler Jones, if we make a trade, after the season or whatever happens with that. If we make a trade after the draft, that might even happen. But either way, we're going to be looking at defensive end. Power rusher is our projection on that side, but at left end, there's not much talent there. At right end, we have Alex McIntosh. He's a speed rusher, doesn't really fit the archetype for that side, but we could always make an exception if his power moves are good enough to be, kind of either way, like Tyquan McCoy, but he's also around 3 to 4 projection. So I don't know if we're going to be taking a defensive end with one of our first couple picks. Defensive tackle is where we need a lot of help, and there's a lot of talent at defensive tackle. I'll have to let you guys know which one of these that I'm looking forward to maybe drafting the most. I'll take a look at them. And then linebacker, we need some help. We need a power rusher on the left side, pass coverage on the left side. Like I said, we're kind of leaning towards re-signing Jayon Brown. He had a good game against the Colts, 14 tackles. So having Jayon Brown locked up for a long term, that would kind of put the pass coverage to the side, and we can worry a little bit more about rushing the passer. So there's a few power rushers here at the top 5, round 1 to 2, round 2 to 3. So that is looking like a strong class, either being like a pass rusher coming off of the edge at the linebacker position, or maybe coming from the defensive tackle position. Middle linebacker, I'm kind of waiting and seeing if we want to keep Denzel Perriman, if we want to move on to maybe letting Devon Diablo be the starter. But run stopper is our archetype, and there's a couple of guys who can be picked in the first couple rounds, but I don't really see us addressing that in the first couple rounds. At cornerback, I feel like we have a good base with Nate Hobbs, Rock Ya-Sin, and Anthony Everett, that we don't really need to prioritize cornerback. Now, one position we might need to prioritize, strong safety. We have Jonathan Abrams, which his coverage skills are not that great, but there's Tim Coleman, who could, come in and probably start day one if we need to, 6'1", 223. Looks like his skills, he has good hit power, good man, good zone. He fits our scheme. Kind of just waiting to see, like all these skill players, how good their speed is. He's rated solid to good, which is kind of middle of the pack, so he might be, I don't know, 85, 86. But like I said, this is the first time I've kind of dealt with this type of scouting. I was much more used to the Madden 20 type scouting, but I'm going to put some of these guys, do a little bit more in-depth recruiting and let you guys know what I think. And due to the magic of editing, this is what our big board is looking like. We have outside rushers, offensive linemen, defensive linemen. Pretty much that's all I really scouted, and I really only scouted for the first couple rounds. There's one guy in here, Niles Matthew. He's around 3 to 4 prospect, but that's only because at left guard there's not really much there outside of Cummings. That's a first round projection, but he has, you know, good to great agility, solid to good acceleration. He's decently athletic, good to great strength. His skills, the A awareness is really what I'm looking at right here, and his A lead blocking. I don't care that his run block power is C right now, just because in this series that we're running, we need good awareness from our players because we're not going to be controlling them. They're going to be controlling themselves. So with A awareness, B pass block, I feel like that's a good base to at least put him on the board. Maybe think about taking him in like a later round. But at the very top, I feel like if we can get Dwayne Robinson, he's not a scheme fit just yet, but I added him up here and he's very high on my board, mainly because of A awareness, and he has C man coverage, B block shedding, A impact blocking, A pursuit. I feel like that is a very good base to build off of. His physical skills, good to great strength, solid to good speed. He's not going to be a burner by any means, which is a little unfortunate because that's kind of what, you know, I would like to build this defense. I want to be swarming, but his pursuit skill is so high that I feel confident that he would just be a day one starter and really benefit this defense coming off the edge and in coverage with his pretty good man coverage. I feel like his zone coverage probably isn't far behind. Next up, left tackle, and some of these players are not scheme fits, but Reggie Rivers, he's a left tackle. He's a power archetype, but he'd probably be making the move to right tackle. His physicals, he's a good athlete, good to great strength, good to great change of direction. And what I'm seeing here is he has good pass block power, good run blocking, good run block power, A impact blocking. So he may make a move inside if we draft him, but then he would fit our, you know, guard archetypes, and he has a size 4 to 6'4", 324. He has that size to move inside. Along the defensive line, we have a couple D tackles here. I put Lance Wilbur a little bit ahead of everyone else, just simply for the fact that he has B finesse moves and A power moves. His block shedding leaves a little bit to be desired, and he's a scheme fit, but he has good to great speed, good to great strength. Like, he's a very great athlete, and his skills aren't too shabby. He's got B play rec, B awareness, B finesse move, A power move. We don't know the rest of them, but I feel like as of right now, what we know about some of these defensive tackles, he's probably our best bet. Behind him, Zay Wall, he's also another good athlete. I added him on here because he has great to elite speed, and when I see elite, I'm just automatically thinking, yes, I want them on the team. He has good to great strength, and his skills, B awareness, B finesse, B power, those are good things to build off of. The only knock he gets is he has a D tackle rating. We don't know the rest, but he's on the board. He's probably our second defensive tackle that we want on the board. I went between having him and Johnny Pendleton switched on the board. It doesn't really matter their order though, but Johnny Pendleton, he has great to elite speed, also solid to good strength. So he's a little less strong than Zay Wall, but he has B power moves, C finesse moves, C block shedding. He has a good base. Nothing that really stands off the page, but he's a pretty well balanced defensive tackle. And some of these other guys, Paul Mason, I really just added him to the board just because he's the top right outside linebacker and he's a scheme fit. We don't know very much about him, but he has great to elite strength, good to great speed, which is definitely a plus in my book. A power moves, B hit power, horrible coverage, but I mean the A power moves definitely makes me want to add him to the board, see what else some of his coverages look like. His zone coverage is rated B to D, so on the higher end it's a B, on the lower end it's a D. So we'll see kind of how that shakes out. Maybe we'll make him a focus prospect sometime later in the season. And Brandon Cummings, the power archetype left guard. He lacks discipline, resulting in avoidable penalties, but I added him on the board just because he's basically the top left guard. And he has run block power A, pass block power B, B awareness A, impact block. And if all his stats stay kind of at the top tier of where his ratings are, I feel like he's going to be a pretty good left guard, even if, you know, maybe he does get flagged every now and then. But Brandon Cummings, the top guard in the class. But that's kind of really all I'm going to go through right now. I mean, some of these other guys you can see along the right side, their stats are pretty good, but we don't know too much about them. One prospect I am going to highlight, Shaquille Madden. I do like his skill set. He has good discipline. He's got good size, 6'6", 308. He's a pass protector. And he's got solid to good speed. Okay, decent to solid strength. That's a little bit better than some of the other pass protector tackles who have the poor to marginal or marginal to decent. At least he's decent to solid. He has great to elite change of direction. And his skills, I saw the C, run block finesse and power, so he's not going to be terrible. But I also saw the pass block finesse A and pass block power A, which means he's not really going to get beat all too often on pass blocks, even if his pass block rating is a B. So if his awareness is really high, he may be someone who jumps way up our board. Maybe we could take him with our first pick to start at right tackle. But I feel like that pretty much wraps up all of our prospects. And I'm going to go ahead and advance to the next week, and we can kind of get a look at seeing what we have coming up for us in week 11 when we take on the Broncos at home. Weekly awards, I wonder if we had any. Max Crosby won AFC Defensive Player of the Week with his 2 sacks and a forced fumble. That's great. He's going to get bonus XP for that. And then kind of looking at some of this other stuff, I'm just going to give you a preview because, you know, I got to leave you guys on a cliffhanger. I can't give y'all all the spoilers, but we have a breakout chance for a DB. We have a prospect highlight, someone that we can, you know, go and see if they would be a good fit for our team. So, and the Chiefs have signed Nickel Roby-Coleman. That is great. So, you know, leave a like if you enjoyed the series. Consider subscribing if you want to see more of this. I plan on maybe uploading one of these every week and a half. You know, I started this series just because it's going to be easier to record. It's going to be easier to edit together, so I can get these videos hopefully out a little bit quicker than my NCAA Dynasty. And I really wanted to have a Madden franchise on the channel because you know, for all its problems, I enjoy Madden. So leave a like, subscribe, comment down below what you think the Raiders should do going forward, what games you might want to see the next week. We're definitely going to jump into this Week 11 game at Denver, maybe sim Week 12, and then the Chargers game we can either sim through or watch the next game. Let me know what you guys want to see, and that'll do it for this episode, and I hope you enjoyed it.